Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today in making the Surf the Wave pendant, which you can also turn into earrings. So, to make this beautiful project, you will need a few beads. You will need 4mm round beads. So these are pearls, but you can use crystals as well. You will need Gekko beads or any type of drop beads, small drop beads. So pip beads might work as well. You will need seed beads, two types, size 11 and size 8. These are Miyuki brand, both of them. This one is 11.0 Duracoat Champagne, and the 8.0 is Gilt-Line Opal, white opal, I think. The name of the color. If you make earrings, you need a pair of earring hooks. And as your focal bead, you will need one if you make a pendant, two if you make earrings, type of these beads, which are called fossil shell beads. These are Czech glass, and you can find them in a few colors on the PotomacBeads website, either US website or EU website. You will need a pair of chain nose pliers. You will need a size 10 or 12 beading needle, and you will need thread. As for thread, you can use either Fireline. This one, the pendant, has been made with Fireline. Or you can use what I will be using today, which is the Miyuki beading thread, which is a nylon thread. It's very good for bead embroidery or for making fringe, because it gives a nice drape. And the nice thing with this is that it comes in many colors. As you can see, I have a beautiful purple. I have this gorgeous turquoise. And I have the gold, which I will be using today to match my beads. So this is everything you need for materials. If you make a pendant, you will also need to have on hand a bail or a jump ring or a split ring, anything like that, and something to string your pendant on. So that's it for materials. Now, I will show you how to begin. So, the first thing you need is to cut a length of thread. So I'm cutting an arm span of thread to start. It's enough to make one earring, just one earring, it's enough. So the first thing you need to do with, especially if you use Miyuki thread, is to stretch your thread a bit like this. And then what you need to do first is attach a stop bead to your thread. So thread on one of your 11.0 seed beads. So most of the time it's recommended to use a seed bead which is not part of your project, to avoid stitching it inside the project by mistake. I don't have any on hand, so I will be using one of mine, it's alright. So thread it on your thread. Then let it drop almost until the end of your thread. Leave a tail. You need the 5 or 6 inches tail so you can hold on to. And then go back through that bead twice to secure it on the thread. When you have joined me this, you need to take one of your fossil shell beads, and you need to go through it once, like so, and then you will go through it a second time in the same direction. If I can find the hole, like so. This will create a loop of thread which will come around the bead and rest here. As you can see, I hope you can see it good. Here it rests on the side of the bead. Now, when you have done it once, you do it a second time to create a second pass of thread, like this. So it's a bit fiddly. It's quite all right. Now, tighten as much as you can without breaking your thread. And now, as you can see, you have 2 threads here going to the side of the bead. If your bead has a groove, it's even better because the thread will hold very good. Mine hasn't, it's slick, so it's a bit difficult at first, but then when you have a few beads attached, it will be alright. So we will use this bridge of thread as if it were our first row of brick stitch, and then we will continue by adding first a row of 11 seed beads to this thread as our first row, and then 8 and then I will show you every step what you need to do. So join me here, and then I will show you how to attach your beads. So now it's the tricky step. So I want you to thread on 2 of your 11 seed beads on your needle. Let them drop. And now I want you to come with your needle under the 2 threads here, being careful not to pierce the thread with your needle because it will weaken the thread. So you need to come here under the thread bridge, and you see I have my finger here holding everything in place. Pull your thread. So the beads will come here on top of the thread, and with your needle now you will come back through the second bead you have put on your thread, which is this one, and you will come back through that bead from the bottom to the top to secure it, like this. Pull your thread. So everything is moving, it's perfectly normal. The first few stitches are tricky. Now you have done this, this is what you get. And now what I want to do is I want to go back through the first bead you put on to secure it in place. So I will go back down from the top to the bottom of the bead, like this. Pull the thread, and like so, so that it will not get caught in anything. And now I will go back under my I will go back through the second bead now from the bottom to the top, just like we did on the first stitch, like so. And this will attach securely my first and second bead together in place here, like so. Now I want you to repeat these steps, so I will show you. You take another seed bead on your needle, you go back under the thread bridge, being careful not to pierce your threads. And then you go back through the beads, through the bead you just added, from the bottom to the top, so that it will be secured on top of the thread bridge. So you go back, you pull your thread securely, and now you have 3 beads next to each other, and here on top a thread bridge. So this is regular brick stitch. We are just acting as if this thread here was our first row of brick stitch. I will show you one more time. So thread on 1 seed bead on your needle, go back under your thread bridge, pull your thread until the end, and if the seed bead comes here, just push it with your finger in place here, and then with your needle go back through the bead you just added from the bottom to the top, like so, and pull gently your thread until the end to secure your bead in place here. And if you have a gap, you can just scooch your bead next to the first ones and then pull on your thread to secure it. So as you can see, now you have 4 seed beads attached. I want you to repeat these steps until you have 15 beads attached on the thread. So until your beads come from the top here to the bottom here all the way, but be careful not to stitch your stop bead in, because we will take that out at the end. So meet me back here when you have your 15 seed beads attached. Okay, so now you have your 15 seed beads in place here. So these are Miyuki seed beads and I use 15. It works. If you use either Toho seed beads or Czech seed beads or another brand of seed bead, you might need to adjust your bead counts. So now we have this. We will do exactly the same procedure, brick stitch, but now we will be using our 8/0 seed beads, and our thread bridge will not be the thread we have put on the side of the bead. It will be the small thread bridges that you have in between here your 11/0 seed beads here. So just ignore your tail and the stop bead. Now your thread is exiting the last seed bead you put on. I want you to thread on two 8/0 seed beads, two of them. You will skip the first thread bridge you have here, and you will go to the second one. Go under the thread bridge with your needle, pull your thread, just like we did on the first row, and your beads will lay like this on top of the first row. I want you to go back through the second seed bead you threaded on, from the bottom to the top, just like we did on the first row. Pull your thread, and now your beads are attached. And just like we have done on the first row, I want you to go back down the first seed bead you threaded on, so from the top to the bottom this time, to reinforce the connection, and then go back once more through the second bead you threaded on, from the bottom to the top, like so. And now you have your first two seed beads, 8/0 seed beads attached. So this is your second row of weaving, and ignore here, as I said, the stop bead. Now thread on another 8/0 seed beads. Go under the thread, the next thread bridge you have. So go under like this. Pull on your thread. And then go back through the seed bead you just added from the bottom to the top. It's the same technique. Here I have my tail that got caught, so I will take it out and pull my thread. I'll show you one more time. Thread on an 8/0 seed bead. Go under the next thread bridge. Pull your thread. And then go back, go back through the seed bead you just added from the bottom to the top. Very easy technique once you understand what you have to do. This is what you have. I have 4 of these 8/0 seed beads attached. Now I want you to continue your row, and I want you to add 13 seed beads, 8/0 like this. You need to have 13 seed beads. So that means you need to, here you have skipped a thread bridge. You have 14 total, because you have 15, sorry. You have 15 11/0 seed beads. That means you have 14 thread bridges. So because you have skipped the first thread bridge on the second row, you have 13 thread bridges left. I want you to add 1 seed bead per thread bridge that you have left. So you will have 13 8/0 seed beads total on your second row. Okay, so now this is what you should have. 13 8/0 seed beads. Now your thread is exiting here, the last 8/0 you added. I want you to thread on 3 11/0 seed beads and 1 of your Gekko beads and another 2 11/0 seed beads. So this is what you need to have on your needle: 3, 1 and 2. You are exiting the first seed bead you added from the bottom to the top. I want you to go back down in the second seed bead in the row from the top to the bottom, like this. So this is what you have. And I know here it's a bit crooked, it's normal, it will get fixed in the next row. Okay, so now you have this. I want you, now your thread is exiting here the second 8/0 seed bead in the bottom of the bead. I want you to go back up through the next 8/0 seed bead. No, so from the bottom to the top, like this. Okay, secure your thread. And now I want you to add 2 11/0 seed beads, 1 Gekko bead, and 2 11/0 seed beads. So you have this on your needle. Go back down through the next 8/0 seed bead. So basically we are making, oops, sorry, my thread got caught. Basically what we are making here is some sort of fringe. So like this. Now this is what you have. Once again, go back up through the next seed bead. And add 2 11/0s, 1 Gekko, 2 11/0s. So you have this, and go back down through the next seed bead. And you do that until you go on the last bead. So this is some sort of fringe. Basically we are starting to attach our embellishment. So once more, 2 11/0, 1 Gekko, 2 11/0, and go back down through the next seed bead. Go back up like this, 2 11/0s, 1 Gekko, 2 11/0s, and go back down. Okay, go back up through the next seed bead, 2 11/0s, 1 Gekko, oops, come here, and 2 11/0s. Go back down your next seed bead. Yep, and now I've gotten caught on the hook. Okay, so now this is what you have, and as you can see you have 1 bead left. This will allow us to turn back around and add the next step of beads. So go back up through this bead, and now you will add another 2 11/0s, and now you will need also your pearls, 4mm pearls, or round beads. So you will need not 2 but 3 beads in the first one, so you need 3, just like we put on in the first step here. You need 3 11/0s, you need 1 pearl, 1 11/0, so this is what you have on your needle, 3 1 pearl and 1 seed bead. And now you will go back through the Gekko bead like so, And that's how you will attach the next embellishments. Now you are exiting here the Gekko bead. You will thread on 1/11, one round bead 4mm, either pearl or a crystal, another 11/0, so 1/11, one 4mm, 1/11, and go back through the next Gekko. And I want you to do that until you reach the other side, where we will turn around together and reinforce our thread. So we are exiting here this first Gekko bead we added. Now what I want you to do is that I want you to go through the 3 seed beads we added first, 11/0 here, then through the 8/0 underneath, then through the first 11/0 we added on the first row here, this one, and then through the big shell bead. You go through the hole, so that will make your thread go on the other side of the design. And of course, don't go through your stop bead, because this will come off at the end of the project, so don't go through it. Now you will exit here the shell bead, fossil shell, and I want you to go through the beads here, seed bead 11/0, 8/0, and then the 3 11/0 after that. So you continue going through in a straight line, if I can speak like this, and that means you will exit here the 3rd seed bead here on top, like this. Now here I am, so ignore the tail, as I said. Here I am exiting here this seed bead, like this. Now I want to make the small loop which we will use to attach either the ear wire or the bail or jump ring or anything you want to use to make a pendant. So I want you to thread on 6 11/0 seed beads, so the golden ones, or if you want to, you might use 2 colors of seed beads, it's your choice. So now I have my 6 seed beads, and check your counts twice, better safe than sorry. 3 and 3 make 6. Go back through the seed beads you exit in the same direction to make a circle, like this. You have a circle of beads, and reinforce that circle at least 2 more times to have 3 passes of thread, because the weight of your piece will rest on this loop of beads. If you don't want to do that, you may also use a wire guard. I don't have any on hand, so I'm using a loop of seed beads. I'm used to doing that, and I never had a problem when it is reinforced properly, so you can do it like this. So 3 times. So now I have gone 1 time. I will go once more. Like this. That's the second pass. Go through the first seed bead you exit from. Whoops, and I got my tail caught up, so I will get it loose. Now I have my loop, and I've gone 2 times through the beads. I want to go 1 more time through them at least, especially since I'm not using fire line. So this is my 3rd pass. If you don't trust your thread or anything, you can always go another time through the ring. Just be careful, because if you go through it too much, you might break this seed bead, and then you have to start this step over. Okay, and now I have done that. My loop is added, And what I want to do, and this will be our next, our last stitching step, I want to go back through all this row of beads another time to reinforce. So I'm exiting here the seed bead. I want to go through the next 4mm pearl, seed bead, Gekko, seed bead, every pearl basically in this row, every pearl or bead or seed bead. I go through everything to reinforce, to make sure that my thread will not break, and also because it helps the design lay properly. So go back through every bead of this row and be careful not to have your thread getting caught around the daggers if you use daggers or drops. If you use pearls you have less chance, but always be careful. But with the daggers or geckos or pearls, or not pearls, drops, it's always tricky not to get the thread caught, so be careful of that. And now I am almost at the end. Okay, and now I am at the end. This is my last bead. So now you have this. This is your completed project. Now we will just secure our thread and tie a knot, and then we will be done with this. Okay, so now last step. We are exiting this Gekko bead here. I want you to go back, as we have done on the previous step, to go back through the 3 seed beads, the 11 O's, now through the 8 O and the first 11 O we added, and then go back once more through the fossil shell bead, like so. This is our last step. Now you are exiting here the top of the fossil shell next to your tail, if you have followed my steps. Now with the tip of your needle, I want you to gently pry off the thread around the stop bead. You want to take off your stop bead like this. And then like this, gently. Now I have taken off my stop bead. I want to tie a knot, my two threads together. So left over right, a knot, and then right over left once, and then twice, and secure your knot, pull. When you have done this, I want you to go back through the whole of the fossil shell bead if you can reach it and you have enough space to go inside, to hide the knot inside the fossil shell bead, like so. This is what you have, and now you can cut or burn the thread, the tail and the working thread. You can cut it. Be careful not to cut anything else, no thread bridge or anything. Okay, so you don't need your needle anymore, and now you have the design completed. This is what you get. Now we need to attach the ear wire. So my first earring is like this. The second one needs to be matching. I want them to be opposite, face opposite direction, so like this. So this is important for the way you will thread on your ear hook. You need to pay attention to the direction. So now you will need a chain nose pliers. So twist open the loop of your ear hook, thread on the earring onto the loop of the ear hook, and then gently close that loop back up by twisting, not pulling, and then your ear wire is attached. So now you have your matching earrings. And if I wanted to make a pendant, instead of adding ear wire, I would add either a fancy jump ring, as I have done here. This is not really a jump ring, it's part of a fancy chain I have. You can use a big jump ring, you can use a split ring, you can use a bail, and then all you have to do is string this on the cord or ribbon of your choice, or chain, or whatever you choose. Or you might also want to stitch a chain with beads and then thread it on. So now these are our complete project. We have a beautiful pair of earrings. So here I have chosen to make my beads go opposite direction. You see the swirl here goes to the top, here it's to the bottom. It's personal preference. If you want it to face like this, then make sure your beads are in the right order and your loop is here, and then you will have matching beads. I prefer it this way. I find it gives more personality to the pair of earrings, but it's personal preference too. So that's it, guys. I hope you liked this project. If you make it, please don't hesitate to share it on social media, Facebook group, PotomacBeads and Jewelry Making on Facebook, so that we can all see the beautiful things you will create. And I was very happy to do this video for you today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!